We are moving towards the climax of battle between Gojo and Sukuna. In previous chapter, Sukuna summoned Nue Totality to assist him in fight. Then it was 3-on-1 battle. Gojo's output of course technique was on decline and he had last card on his deck, Unlimited Hollow technique. Chapter 234 starts with Yuta trying to join the battle carrying katana on his hand. He starts to move out, but Kasimo stops him saying not to interfere. Hakari also says to calm down. Gojo only allowed them to enter if he gets weaker than them. Maki adds if someone is going, it's her. So judging by this conversation, Yuji and the gang might join the battle when the things are more favorable for them. Currently, Sukuna can't use domain expansion, so this is the perfect opportunity for Yuta to enter and handle those two shikigami. By taking them out of commission, he can give Gojo more room to breathe. With the help of Rika, he can turn this battle into 3-on-3. As you know from the very long time, Kasimo wants to fight against Sukuna. If Gojo loses, he wants to be the next one to fight against Sukuna. Maki says to not forget his role. He is one of the insurance, but if they win against Sukuna, they won't need that insurance. Yuta is ready to take the gamble and Yuji also supports for Yuta to join the fight. He says to go for it and the circumstances are looking favorable for this decision. Yuji has great faith in Yuta. Ever since they first met, Yuta has made a great impression on Yuji, to the point that he asked Yuta to deal with 15 Fingers Sukuna if he ever goes out of control. During the conversation, Kusakabe vouches for Yuta to stay. Mei says Gojo and Sukuna have different requirements for winning. Gojo just has to win against Sukuna and together our gang can handle Kenjaku. But for Sukuna it's different, he will have to fight against Yuji and the gang even if he wins against Gojo. Sukuna has entered the battle knowing that group of sorcerers are watching him, and as soon as he gets weak, he will be surrounded by them. Kenjaku warned him about the heavy hitters led by Yuta Okutsu. So Hakari says Sukuna must have a trump card that he is preserving, and if they go out, Sukuna might use it. And there is Uraume who is quite the monster herself. Right now Sukuna is not able to give his best and Gojo is at his best without a hindrance. In Kusakabe's eyes, this circumstances has the highest probability for winning. Yuta is having little doubt and says a hindrance to himself. Kasimo is standing strong on his ideals and says this is a fight for Gojo Satoru. Whatever happens, it's lame to interfere with it. Being a sorcerer from 400 years ago, he understands the urge to battle strong opponents. Even in life-threatening situation, he just wanted to savor the thrill of fighting a strong one. And that's the only reason he chose to reincarnate. So he doesn't want anyone to interfere on this battle. Cut back to the fight, Gojo dodges the consecutive attacks of Agito and Mahoraga and lands a black flash on Agito. However, Agito just heals the damage and attacks with his tail, but Gojo rips it off. It seems Agito is the fusion of Nue, Great Serpent, Mount Tiger and Round Deer. That means its attacks are fast like Great Serpent and strong like Mount Tiger, and it has insane healing ability of Round Deer. Even though it's not adapted to Limitless, Gojo still has to take Agito out with one shot. Mahoraga then slashes some bricks towards Gojo and during that distraction attacks with his blade. However, Gojo dodges it and strikes with a hard kick. Simultaneously, Agito manages to land his attack on Gojo, but he just tanks it and strikes Agito with a strong right punch. Right now, Gojo is just handling these two shikigami pretty easily. Since their attacks are becoming repetitive, Gojo is able to counter them. Then Gojo thinks about Agito might become troublesome since he can heal Sukuna. He is part Round Deer, so he can act as an external healer, and that is crucial for Sukuna right now. Both Gojo and Sukuna's output is on decline, and that's why the reverse curse technique of Round Deer will prove troublesome to Gojo. Then we see Sukuna in the shadows. He is planning to not let Gojo use Hollow Purple. Since he is not at his best condition right now, so 100% output Hollow Purple might be fatal. He says the purple Gojo used was more than 120% of the output and must have some kind of binding bow. This 120% calculation might just be Sukuna's POV, or the translation about 200% output in chapter 223 was wrong. I am thinking it's just Sukuna's calculation since he did not know it was enhanced by Utahime. But even when he faced purple, he was at Shinjuku, which was 4 km away, or you can say 2.5 miles away. So Sukuna just tanked it and only lost enhanced arm. Then Sukuna provokes Mahoraga by saying, "How long are you having me wait? You are my shadow, not Fushiguro Megumi's. Show me what you have." Then we see Will spin and Mahoraga attacks and cuts off Gojo's arm. The slash is clean and it looks like shrine technique of Sukuna. Kusakabe comes to the same conclusion that it might be cleave or dismantle. We don't have a clear description on how he did it, but it was made clear that Mahoraga's ability is to adopt, not to use the adopted ability. In previous chapter, we saw Sukuna using piercing blood technique of shikigami max elephant. So this attack might be reverse of what we saw with piercing blood technique. This time, Mahoraga was somehow able to use its master's technique just like how Sukuna was able to use its servant's technique. I'm hoping it's not right explanation for that slash, because if Mahoraga can use consecutive slashes, then Gojo is in trouble. Sukuna praises Mahoraga and students are panicking seeing the sight of Gojo losing his arm. Soko says it's not good, since Gojo's output is on decline, due to which his healing isn't in good condition. Then Sukuna appears from shadow and kicks Gojo, with Agito adding to it by punching in Gojo's spine. Gojo is unfazed by it. Then he creates an orb and punches Agito with it, and thrashes him along with blue maximum output. Of course, this creates center of attraction, so Agito gets crushed by its pulling effect. Lastly, narrator states 41 seconds later, Gojo Satoru's hollow purple technique will leave a scar on Shinjuku. Talking about overall content of the chapter, it's very promising. I'm really excited to see its anime adaptation. The fight style and various different uses of limitless techniques are really well choreographed. Just look at this scene, where Gojo rips the part of rooftop using blue and attacks Mahoraga by enhancing the speed with right kick. Gojo 2v1ing these two shikigami gives a strong impression on his part. It also shows how much of a fighter he is. He is skilled, intelligent and more of a creative guy. On the other hand, Sukuna is pure tactical, creating opportunity and using every opening he can find to beat Gojo. Gojo is clearly under huge pressure right now, but he still has his attitude of talking shit. These humor elements are really good, and Gege has done really good job in every scene. The drawings aren't really living up to the expectation, since we know Gege was always more detailed in his artwork, but some of the latest panels are really off the beat. I hope for him to improve on these parts, since these chapters are super good and that would be the icing on the top of cake. Well, what are your opinion on it? Let me know it in the comment section. I'm Anjay and see you soon.